for the ministerial positions with regards to the 60 ministries or ministers that the President John Dramani Mahama promised ahead of assuming office. We know that this is the last batch of 60 that he promised. So subsequently, with the rest remaining, we're going to have deputy ministerial positions. Also, Parliament today has approved 6 of the first batch of ministers that were vetted last week, which includes the Honorable Harun Idrisu, the Finance Minister, Castle Atuforsen, governs Kwame Agboja for roads and highways. The Attorney General also, he's also been approved, Dr. Dominic Ayine. Let's go live to Parliament and connect with Judith Brown, who has been monitoring proceedings there since afternoon. Judith, what more can you tell us?
I told you earlier that, yes, of course, the Parliament has unanimously approved these 6 ministers, as you mentioned earlier. And on the floor of Parliament,
well, unfortunately, we've lost connection with Judith Brown. Time now for the very latest in the world of business. Michael Ogbodu is standing by to take it over.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN,
West Hills Ridge Property, Eden Heights.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Ogbodu. Now, senior partner at accounting and auditing firm KPMG, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, has been appointed Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA. His appointment follows the resignation of Julie Siam, who earlier today resigned from her position less than a year after her appointment. Prior to his appointment, Anthony Sapong served as a senior partner of KPMG in Ghana with additional jurisdiction over the firm's business in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and the Gambia. He is a chartered accountant with over 21 years' experience in audits and advisory services across a number of sectors, including financial services. Meanwhile, media practitioner and political talk show host Dr. Ransford Abbey has been appointed as Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board. His appointment follows the resignation of the former Cocoa Board CEO Joseph Boahen Edu. He comes with the odious task of reforming that crucial agricultural entity, which has been bedeviled with a number of challenges, including raising funds after it failed to be able to do so last year. Now, away from that, we'll bring you more stories now. And Fresh Company Limited. Yeah, we'll bring you more stories now as we look at other business areas there to bring you updates. Now, the First Sky Group has reaffirmed its commitment to improving kidney health in Ghana through its free dialysis and kidney transplant program at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Since 2016, the initiative has spent over 36 million cedis fully funding kidney transplants for 16 patients.
The First Sky Group is making significant strides in supporting the fight against kidney disease in Ghana. Speaking at the company's 22nd annual Thanksgiving ceremony, Group Chairman Dr. Eric Sedi Kutoche revealed that 4 additional patients will undergo fully funded kidney transplant surgeries by the end of January 2025. However, he lamented the lack of legislation in Ghana to regulate organ donation and harvestation, a critical component of sustainable kidney transplant systems.
I am informed that it takes 18 hours before one's kidney expires after death. Morbid as it may sound, it means that even in death, one is useful to humanity. I wish to draw your attention to steps being taken towards legislation that will require your directive, Mr. Chief of Staff, in passing into law the appropriate legal regime for the KRT.
Meanwhile, Chief of Staff Julius Debra expressed President John Mahama's commitment to creating an enabling environment for private businesses like the First Sky Group to thrive.
His government is going to look at a very practical way of creating jobs. And so the people in government concern themselves with governance and policies. The people in business, including our brother Eric and many, many others in the business community, concern themselves with wealth creation and job creation.
The annual Thanksgiving ceremony, held under the theme Proclaiming the Unfailing Love of God, brought together clergy, government officials, and other stakeholders.
Yes, Lord, we honor you. You are a faithful God.
Now, YouFresh Company, a leading manufacturer of healthy beverages, has signed a brand ambassador contract with popular Ghanaian actor James Gardner. The contract signing ceremony took place in Accra and was attended by the company's management team and other stakeholders.
The partnership is expected to help increase brand awareness and drive sales for YouFresh Company. It also aims to promote healthy living and wellness among Ghanaians. The general manager of YouFresh Company Ghana, Teresa Deng, indicated that the company is committed to satisfying its customers.
We want to bring very positive effect to the whole market. But at the same time, with the YouFresh, we make sure that we provide quality product with very affordable price in the Ghana market, and at the same time try to do more social activity to help with the community, especially bring more job opportunity in Ghana here.
Ghanaian and Nollywood actor James Gardner was excited about this partnership.
I feel like it's for everybody. You know, it doesn't target any class or audience in particular. The fact that it cuts across means that you're reaching a lot more people, and it goes both ways. So I couldn't be more excited.
As part of the agreement, James Gardner will serve as the face of YouFresh Company's brand, promoting the company's range of healthy beverages across various media platforms.
Now, the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry has called on the nominee for Roads and Highways, Kwame Gordon-Zagoja, to prioritize clearing arrears owed contractors to revitalize the struggling sector. During his vetting in Parliament, Mr. Zagoja disclosed that the outstanding debt amounts to more than 20 billion cedis. The president of the chamber, Emmanuel Cherry, however, warned that the arrears, which in some cases date back to 2017, could far exceed the stated figure.
Technically, it will be more than that, because at the time of the transitions work ended, there were additions of IPCs, interim payment certificates, that were locked at the various ministries and agencies and departments of the Ministry of Works and Housing. So automatically, that money is not the same, to definitely go up. Our simple expectation from the
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Portia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Let's continue with the rest of our stories. I plead with the courts to forgive me. It was not my intention to kill my dear friend and to also end my life this way. I pray the court's forgiveness all my sins and gives me a second chance. Well, these were the words of convicted minor in the Kaswa ritual murder after he was sentenced to 1 year in prison. After 3 years, family of 10-year-old Ishmael Mensah have gotten justice for his murder. Lord Idwasari reports.
15 years old at the time of the offense, the minor and his friend, 18-year-old Nicholas Kinney, were involved in the killing of 10-year-old Ishmael Mensah Abdullah for ritual money in 2021 at Kaswa. The duo was convicted of murder following a unanimous guilty verdict by a 7-member jury in October last year. The boys were found guilty on 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder and murder. The second convict, Nicholas Kinney, now 21, was sentenced to life imprisonment and has subsequently begun his sentence. At 18, the first accused, filled with regret and tears, pleaded with the family of the victim after the court asked him for his final words before judgment. He attributed his actions to the devil. Presiding Magistrate Bernice Mensima Akon sentenced him to 12 months detention in Senior Correctional Center after affirming that he was on remand for 3 years and 2 months. She also held that the juvenile confessed to the offense and was consistent in his account of events throughout the trial. He also showed remorse, evidenced by how he sobbed intermittently during the trial. Commenting on his detention, Mensima Akon said she found out he was detained in an adult cell for more than 3 years contrary to law and was detained far more than what the law prescribes for a juvenile for the offense of murder. Family of the victim spoke to the media.
Constitutional my so almost go back. No more kushimi. If it's a pum, ubi to me 15 years, no to me do a war, SSO penity. They say Yaman 4 years, Yaman 3 years. South Indian conversation to me quechia, almost uncle Mukushu my. So when you be on from cry, says I will beat me the bonnet exercise so to me call life. Kora Sanabaya Busano so yede, Akuma Betom.
Now, thugs have clamped down on the business operations of Intercity Transport Shuttle Service 2M Express. The thugs besieged the company on January 7, 2025, in which they took over the operation of their privately owned commercial washroom business. Stanley Niblu reports that failure of management to dole out money to them resulted in closing down the company on Monday, January 20.
The 2M Express bus terminal to board bus were sacked by the thugs. Staff were also subsequently ejected from their offices and the doors locked. The thugs eventually cordoned off the premises, denying the company's buses entry. The drivers then resorted to parking their vehicles on the shoulders of the Circle Kaneshi Street.
Some people referring themselves to be members of the NDC, entering the premises illegally, trying to take control of the premises, claiming now their parties in power, so it's time for them to take charge of the operations. We were able to get them to get out on the 7th of December, but then they promised to be back. And true to their words, they came back.
On January 7, 2025, the thugs besieged the company where they first took charge of the commercial washrooms, which they have been operating since. They later demanded management to vacate the land, claiming that it was illegally acquired. But the general manager of 2M Express, Joseph Obin told TV3, they legally acquired the land.
Everything that is legal pertaining to the ownership of the place or to the lease of the place, we have followed the due process.
The said land, which forms the periphery of the Accra-Tema railway line, was initially occupied by sex workers. In 2017, a TV3 investigative piece that exposed nefarious activities of the sex syndicate there prompted the Accra Metropolitan Assembly under the leadership of Mohamed Ni Ejesoa to demolish makeshift structures serving as brothels there. The land was then ceded to a private developer who also allocated parcels of the land to 4 transport operating firms, including 2M Express, owned by late Bantama MP Daniel Ochimabwaji. Already, the thugs have spent 13 days at the enclave, hijacking privately owned companies. Police personnel deployed to the scene failed to make any arrests.
On the 7th of January, these gentlemen with their team managed to take control of our toilet facility and has been managing the place since 7th. That's about 13 days now, taking revenue on the land. We've called on the police on several occasions. Yes, they've responded, they've been there, but on all occasions, they leave without any arrest. And even the leader of the thugs in there goes to mention that even if he's arrested, in the next hour, he'll be let loose and then he's going to increase whatever they are doing there. This is really disrupting our business.
Management of the affected companies wants the central government's intervention to resume work. Stanley Niblu, TV3 News, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Accra.
In other news tonight, 7 out of 9 miners who were shot dead for illegally invading the concession of mining firm Anglo Gold Ashanti have been buried. The bodies were released to the family on Tuesday, January 21, after an autopsy was conducted. The 7, all Muslims, were buried according to Islamic rites amidst heightened tension in the area. The miners were shot by the military when they attempted accessing a restricted site to mine unlawfully. Now, 1 out of the 4 injured is receiving treatment at the Confanochi Teaching Hospital and is still battling for his life as the bullet is said to have pierced through a critical part of his body. The Ashanti Regional Minister designate Dr. Frank Amwakohene and some regional executives of the National Democratic Congress have been engaging the youth in Obuasi. Families of the deceased and management of AGA have come in to restore calm in the community. Let's cross over now to Parliament, where the vetting process for the remaining minister designates have just started. Our correspondent Judith Brown is there, but we're going to bring you live feed from Parliament right now.
If we are going to consider anyone. So when you add the time needed average to be able to vet properly the 2 nominees, we might end up spending between 6 and 8 hours. So if you add 6 and 8 hours to 7:30, 8 p.m., it means that we're going to keep our fathers, our mothers, and their families here till 2 a.m. Meanwhile, the MPs have been working since morning, and you want us to sit till 2 a.m. So we've been having discussions among ourselves, looking at the health of the MPs and at the same time also the convenience of the nominees and their families and chiefs who we have given notice that we'll vet today, and then they have come and they are waiting for us since morning as they also follow proceedings in the chamber. So we invited King Odaifio Willenche II, the president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. He is our father, and his elders, and other chiefs, and we said, you are our father. We invited you here since morning to vet your regional minister. If you want us to, gender, Minister for Gender, your daughter, Minister for Gender. If you want us to carry out the vetting, we will do so. If you insist that we should do it, we will do so. But we are looking at your health, the health of your elders and family members that you have brought here, and our own health as members of Parliament. And His Majesty, having considered the situation, has directed us that he has no problem. He will allow us to end the sitting of the committee and come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with his elders so that we can expeditiously consider and vet his daughter for the ministry that she has been nominated to. We will also be engaging the chiefs from Bono region who are here to support the vetting of Honorable Elizabeth Ajari. So we are very grateful to Your Majesty, King Odaifio, for giving us that opportunity to consider the nominee tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I want to assure you that we are hoping that tomorrow we can consider them, be able to write a report on them, lay the report in the House, and God willing, I believe that the House will approve them tomorrow. That we are also promising to give in exchange for the inconvenience that they have been subjected to today. So This is the message that the chairman has asked me to deliver to the nominees and then their family members and chiefs who we invited for consideration today but have been unable to do so.
Thank you very much. I proceed to adjourn the vetting meeting to tomorrow at 9.
All right, so the vetting process in Parliament has been adjourned to tomorrow, and you heard Mama Yariga there citing reasons why the committee had to adjourn the sittings. Our parliamentary correspondent, Judith Brown, who's been monitoring those proceedings, will join us later to give some more explanation into why the sitting had to be adjourned till tomorrow. Portia?
Now, the World Health Organization has urged the United States of America to reconsider its decision to withdraw from the organization. The recently inaugurated president of the U.S., Donald Trump, has signed an executive order to withdraw America from the organization, and this will be the second time the 47th president has ordered the U.S. to pull out of the WHO. A report by Gertrude Bracco.
During President Trump's first term in office, he accused WHO of mishandling COVID-19 pandemic, stating the organization was being too China-centric. Hence, Donald Trump began the process to pull U.S. out from WHO, but the decision was later reversed by Joe Biden. However, on the first day of Trump's second term as president, he has signed an executive order detailing how the withdrawal process could begin. This means future donations by the U.S. to the WHO will be paused. The United States is one of the biggest contributors to the organization. During the 2022-2023 biennium budget of the WHO, the United States contributed $1.28 billion to the organization, which is about 20% of the organization's annual budget. Germany contributed $856 million, whereas Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation contributed $830 million. So, what does this mean to the organization? Head of department at the Department of Population, Family and Reproductive Health at the University of Ghana, Professor Richmond Aite, tells us more.
U.S. leaving the support that they give WHO will be a substantial effect on WHO's programming, on its response to pandemics or epidemics around the world, and would affect the kind of support that it gives to many countries around the world, including those of us in Africa. But it's not just finances that U.S. contributes. U.S. also contributes expertise, and those are not easy to replace. So you can imagine that some of the support that currently countries are getting, support for capacity strengthening even within their countries, support for managing and even identifying epidemics before they become a full-blown challenge. All these things are going to be affected.
Professor Aite further indicates other alternatives to bridge the financial gap the U.S. could leave.
So there has been increase in the voluntary funding that some countries are giving. My expectation is that, WHO is too important for the world to leave it and leave the gap that will be created by U.S. withdrawal. So I look forward to different countries stepping up. Maybe we could be seeing some of these countries like China and others stepping up and even if not making up the gap, contributing a little bit more.
Meanwhile, the organization in a press statement has expressed its regrets in America's decision and hopes the U.S. reconsiders its decision.
And finally, for Ghanaian sports fans, an answer to who will manage the rebranded but often chaotic and problematic Sports Ministry. The ministry, which has been rebranded as the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, has had its fair share of controversy, which means Kofi Adams, the president's nominee, will have his work cut out. So what should be his, by extension, the government's priority in sports? Akuse J has more.
Kofi Adams, a member of parliament for Buem, describes himself as a boxing enthusiast. At the sports ministry, he would need all the ducking and jabbing skills that a sports teaches, given the intense scrutiny around it. He takes over from Mustafa Yusuf, roundly criticized for a lack of proper supervision of the Ghana Football Association in a chaotic African Games, which is still under investigation. So what should the former Adisadel tutor's top priorities be?
I think that the top one should be what he promised in his campaign about, fixing the college for sports. Where Ghana sports is at the moment at its all-time low. There isn't any. Nobody should lie to anybody. There isn't any quick fix to it. It needs an open heart surgery. It needs a grand scheme of work. And so that should be the priority.
Over the years, some members of the sports fraternity have expressed frustration on the ministry's overemphasis on football, especially the Black Stars, a team that has struggled to win anything of note for over 4 decades. Journalist Sadiq Adams hopes this trend changes.
The new minister will have to have a balance between growing the least funded sports and also empowering the comparative areas where we have a comparative advantage in boxing and football. I think that it will be a major task for the minister, because this is the point where all the other sports are at a point where nobody wants to associate with in terms of performance and also in terms of the spectatoring.
When the NDC revealed their manifesto before the general elections, they highlighted 10 key promises. To fulfill these promises and more, Jerome Ochre highlighted the need for a sports policy.
For all the period I've followed Ghana sports, I haven't really seen anything that speaks to policy that says that government A or government B, this is our policy on sports. If you take health, President Kufuor's government introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme, which worked for some time. Professor Mills continued. Whether it's working or not, it's again not my issue. My issue is that it's a health policy that more or less has come to stay. If you take it to sports, there isn't anything like that.
He says he wants to approach the running of sports with sincerity and honesty and focus on the grassroots. The words sound good. As always with the sports ministry, it is the deeds we will be watching keenly.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by
Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, tonight in this segment, last Sunday was all about Date Rush as the highly anticipated Season 12 premiered with fresh and exciting additions. Well, your Sunday evenings just got better with unforgettable love stories and engaging conversations.
Your leading and most watched dating reality show Date Rush made a grand return Sunday night after captivating fans with its previous season. It marked the start of yet another beautiful love journey, and fans weren't about to miss it for anything. With excitement in the air, all 10 stunning ladies made a vibrant entrance, dancing onto the stage with hopes of catching the attention of the gentleman for the night.
How long have you been single now?
For 4.5 years now.
Hey! Now, Lale, talk to us.
Giovanni.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a very simplicity lady. And then...
You are simplistic?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I don't want anything extravagant or anything. Just a normal thing.
Like what?
This season brings a fresh twist. Contestants now have some support from family and friends to help them make the perfect love decision on the show.
I have the singular honor of inviting you to put up 3 rushes that you know your cousin will not go for. Fights go fit happen for house, but that one then now upon.
Tension has started.
The first episode of the season was nothing short of fun and full of surprises.
Ladies, decision time. All right, okay. Oh, come on.
It's shaping up to be a thrilling 6 months of pure entertainment, and fans are eagerly anticipating what the rest of the season has in store. It was a double date and a major win for the first 2 gentlemen who stepped onto the stage and found love right from the start of Date Rush.
Apeke. You've got to make a date with Date Rush. When is the show?
Sundays after News 360.
News 360.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we conclude News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Parkwesi Asari.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Alfred Kansi at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.
La 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 la.